Welcome to Eye Contact, a video news program on issues and controversies in ophthalmology sponsored by EUROTIMES. I'm Henahan. Proponents of FLACS, femtosecond laser-assisted cataract surgery, suggest that it is safer and more accurate than conventional cataract surgery. Is there any evidence to support this claim? Is FLACS a fad or is it here to stay? We're here now speaking with Dr. Boris Malyugin, Chief of Department of Cataract and Implant Surgery at the Fyodorov Eye Microsurgery Complex, Moscow, Russia, about this question. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me here.
First of all, what do we really know? Do we have any kind of evidence from larger studies to support any particular advantages for FLACS over conventional surgery?
I believe that currently there is no sufficient information about that. There are several studies that are unrolling, and there were several publications actually showing the big numbers, like 4,000 of FLACS cases. And to the best of my knowledge, at least for now, these studies failed to show significant advantages of this technology. So there are a lot of potential benefits, but still we need some evidences.
Well, one potential advantage is that you have a lot less or maybe even no phaco time. Do you see that as an advantage? And are there possibly things going on with the femtosecond laser introducing energy into the eye that will be new problems we haven't even figured out yet?
To your question, I will say yes, I do see some advantage of having less energy in the eye. I do think that this niche is a little bit limited to the cases when I will have compromised eye structures like compromised endothelium, where I would love to decrease any energy that goes into the eye in order to avoid additional damage to the cells. But this is basically, if we're talking about, for instance, patients with Fuchs dystrophy, this is about 4% of our cataract population. The other benefit of having less energy will be in brown and very hard cataracts, which I think could be a very useful application for this technology. If we are talking about softer nucleus cataract, I don't think we will see a real clinical benefit of introducing this pre-cutting of the nucleus before removing it. Apart from that, we know that firing with the laser on the capsule, we create some prostaglandins, which are biologically active molecules that are generated by laser energy interaction with the tissue. And that's why in the earliest series of FLACS, we actually, at least in my clinic, we were surprised to see pupil constriction right after the femto step. So from that point, we learned a lot, and now we are introducing these patients to non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, which are administered prior to the surgery, 1 day before, 2 days before, and generally we know how to manage that. But still, by removing something, some energy, we introducing another type of energy, and this should be balanced. What kind of energy is bad, and what kind of energy will be beneficial for the eye.
Well, a similar kind of controversy might be that Femto makes a beautiful capsulotomy, and yet if you look at it with the electron microscope, it has a jagged edge, and people have reported adhesions and so on. What do you think? Is it overall Femto capsulotomy a step up from the standard capsulorhexis?
I believe that the precision, the size and centration, and the possibility to create capsulorhexis perfectly with the perfect diameter pre-planned is a great advantage for the surgeon. But you're absolutely right. We've seen all these scanning electronic microscopy images with serrated edges, with laser hitting not on the cut but nearby. I do think that all these technological problems can be more or less solved. For instance, by decreasing the energy, by making this edge smoother. We know that energy decrease will give us better and more smooth edge. That was also shown on the electronic microscopy. I don't think that we're still not there yet with capsulotomy, and we need to finalize and fine-tune this procedure, which is having some advantages, I believe, in the future.
I guess everyone would agree it's much easier to do a capsulotomy automatically than to do it by hand.
Absolutely agree, and I personally like to do this type of capsulotomy in patients with Marfans and with lens subluxated, because one of the challenging steps of the surgery for me, for instance, in Marfan syndrome or patients with traumatic zonular dialysis, is capsulotomy. Because as soon as you get perfectly round, intact capsulorhexis, then I believe 50% of the surgery for me is done. Then I can easily complete the surgery, put modified CTR, suture it to the sclera, put the lens in. So for me, laser giving the advantage of doing this capsulotomy very precisely and without any efforts, because as soon as you touch the lens, so it starts moving. So, and this is the challenge, because there are no zonular support. So the laser does not need zonular support for capsulorhexis creation. So I think this is an area where laser capsulorhexis is definitely helpful.
That's a really interesting point. Now, proponents of FLACS like to say that it's also very potentially useful for multifocal IOL implantation because of the perfect capsulotomy. Is this wishful thinking, or do we have some evidence to support that?
I think it's more like theoretical advantage. We know that the IOL, which is sitting in the bag with the optic edge covered completely with anterior capsulorhexis, is the ideal result that we all want to have, because with this situation you have ideal effective lens position can be ideally predicted in standard cases when the axial length is with the standard limit. So, of course, there is still potential for manual capsulorhexis to be wider and not so regular, and by asymmetric fibrosis, the lens can be displaced or decentered. And, of course, having consistent, precisely sized capsulorhexis is a definite advantage for multifocal IOLs. I am not aware of any study showing the real clinical benefits for these patients right now, but I will probably expect these studies to appear in the near future.
Now, you can use the Femto in every stage of the cataract surgery. I wonder if, for yourself and speaking to your colleagues, are people using it for every step from the capsulotomy on through? Are people using it to crack the lens? Do they just do whichever they feel comfortable with? What is your sense of what's going on right now, typically?
I will tell you my personal technique. So I actually don't like very much to use Femto for creating incisions. And the reason of that, and I have experience with several laser platforms, and the reason of that actually the laser is placing main incision and additional incisions on the circle. And we know that the eye is not circle. So the eye is, in most cases, is oval. Its horizontal corneal diameter is bigger than the vertical one. And that's why when you want to place your incision closer to the limbus, for instance, in superior meridian, your paracenteses that are located in the horizontal axis are a little bit too close to the center of the cornea, and vice versa, of course. So if you place your paracenteses nearby the limbus, so your main incisions moves a little bit to the center. Of course, this depends on where you locate your incision. So for me, I think that I'm looking for the new generation of the laser platforms that allow me to deliver the incision according to the actual ovality of the cornea of the patient. I believe that will happen quite soon in the future, but today we are not there yet. That's why I personally am more comfortable in placing my incisions by disposable metal blade. And I usually, when I do FLACS, I do capsulotomy and lens fragmentation.
Mm-hmm. Fascinating. Well, so there is still a human touch involved.
That's right. But having said that, I do remember a very nice study that was presented recently at ESCRS meeting, and when the group of, I believe, Eric Donenfeld, they played with the not only with the location of the incision, but with the profile of the incision. Mm-hmm. And by making the initial oblique groove first, and then creating the tunnel, they actually show that this type of incision is more watertight, rather than comparing to the planar incision, mm-hmm. or planar laser incision, or incision made by blade. So there is a good potential for the laser to create specific profiles, incisions with specific profiles that have advantage of being more watertight and adding additional benefit of less risk of infection and so on and so forth.
Yeah, fascinating. Well, speaking of the potential of the laser, we've heard some reports even here at the meeting about the potential for a fully automated femtosecond laser-assisted cataract surgery, almost with no human involvement. Do you see a time when we'll be looking at a robotic cataract surgery?
I think this time will come. We don't know when it will come, but for sure, I believe it will come, because when we see all this machinery, all these computers, the computers are smarter than humans. They're playing chess better, so they have a lot of calculations.
They're driving cars.
They're driving cars, and why cannot they be taught to do surgery? I believe it's possible. And in general surgery, there are some robotic systems already involved in actual surgery and diagnostics. So I do think whenever we will be going for automation, we will be on the right way. The question is, what will be the role of the surgeon in this case? And I still think that there will be a good role for the surgeon, even if we will have automated systems, because actually you need somebody to supervise the machine. You need some complicated cases that can be definitely challenging for any machine. So I think we will be going in this direction in the years to come. And just look at the diagnostic machine that we have. So there was, when the patient was entering the room maybe 50 years ago, there was a big box of glasses, and he was just showing the patient different type of glasses. Now the patient goes in, put his chin, one click, and then you get everything. So that is amazing, and I believe that that technology will come for the surgery.
We shall see what the future holds. Well, thank you for speaking with us.
A pleasure.
Thank you for joining us. For more information on this and related topics, please visit us at eurotimes.org.